Next on stage, please welcome ATANAS Kiriakov from OnToText.
I need a second to set up. You can relax for a second from 5, 6, 10 talks in a row. We probably need some help to get the presentation. Good, thank you. Okay, so now, real good morning. I want to give it a bit of an AI spin. So I'll tell you about knowledge graphs and how knowledge graphs are used in artificial intelligence and how they help, like analyzing text or putting together data from different sources, who is using it and so on and so forth. So quick intro, I established OnToText in, that's our most popular product. So most of the people come to us and know us because we have a native database engine. Now we are in position to have together two types of technologies that you very rarely find together, which is a native database engine and text mining platform that works on top of it. We had the chance to do, like I founded OnToText year 2000, and we had the chance to spend pretty much like 10 years in advanced AI research. But for the last 10 years, we've been actually maturing this technology so that it can power big media websites and other things like this. So nowadays our clients are all these, mostly media publishers, financial organizations, also like the Parliament of the United Kingdom and the Cadastral Services Netherlands, because they need this technology. But what this is good for, well, the baseline is managing, analyzing, visualizing networks of concepts or entities. In this case, it is ecosystem of a big company and how it relates to its subsidiaries and its joint ventures and co-investors and so on and so forth. Another example is, imagine that you want to get patterns like a company in US that controls another company in US through a company in an offshore zone. And quite often to do this, you need to put together information from like multiple company databases and geospatial information and so on, so that you can get these patterns. You also need to do a bit of inference, all these dashed arrows that you see on the screen, so that you can basically sift these patterns out of a knowledge graph of billions of things. You can visualize all these graphs in different ways. There is all the tooling about it, but the really interesting part is when you try to use it for text analysis and when you try to link and to put together, to find references and mentions of all these concepts and things that you know about, to find when they're mentioned in the text, because this way you can do like better recommendations or better classification and so on and so forth. At the heart of it is, it's actually natural language processing, text analysis, text mining, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, the really tough part is how you figure out that in this text that you have on the right, on the left, doesn't matter. In this text over here, you can distinguish whether the reference is to Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, or Tim Cook, the football player. In this very specific example, it's easy because you see it in the text, but there are plenty of examples in which it is not. And that's the kind of thing that people figure out easily. They very easily get from the context which one you mean, and computers don't. And we actually use knowledge graphs to give the computers this kind of awareness of like all sorts of concepts and entities that a typical graduate student knows in a specific domain, saying my background is software, and you know a lot about products and libraries and other things in software. The question is how to let the computer know all these things and entities and concepts and relationships that matter and that people use to interpret something. And we've been doing this, we have it in several domains. So what it ends up with is putting data from different sources together in a knowledge graph, then use it to analyze text, generate some text metadata that make the link of like this thing is mentioned in this document, and then do all the fancy things. When you have to deal with so much diverse information, usually you get information from at least 10 sources to make such a knowledge graph, such an artificial brain. You need special tools to deal with this information to figure out what is in there. Because in one of our projects we have 1,400 classes. So managing a class hierarchy of 1,400 classes requires special tooling for figuring out which are the important subclasses, get an idea of the typical representatives, and so on and so forth. And it's the same of trying to figure out, well, I compiled all these, but did I get it right? And what are the most typical relationships between people and organizations in this data set, or something like this? So these technologies, here for quite a while. BBC were the first one to start using it on a big scale, and now on their website you get, on the sports section, each and every page is generated by retrieving the most recent and most relevant content from a knowledge graph. To get this right, beyond the AI thinking and data scientists and logicians and cognitive people, you actually need a lot of engineering, so you need a proper, like everything that you need for an enterprise database engine, like high availability cluster architecture, capability to deploy it in different cloud environments, integration with search engines, and so on and so forth. So wrapping up, our wisdom about AI and analytics and machine learning. We like analytics, and back in 2 years ago, a colleague of ours, a lady called Laura Tosh, we predicted Brexit. So we published a white paper a week before Brexit saying that based on analysis of millions of tweets, the support for Brexit is much bigger than the Brits who want to stay in EU in Twitter. So it was fancy, nice, we got a lot of traffic on our website. But in the real world and in the real projects, most of the time you actually spend on putting the data together, cleaning it, normalizing it, integrating it, linking information from different sources, extracting more information from text, so that somebody else can do the fancy analytics most of the time. So if you want to know how this works, we have 2 talks tomorrow. It is in Hall 8. My colleague Stefan will start with machine learning-based approaches for text analysis and what it takes to maintain such pipelines and such platforms. And our CTO Vasil will speak the first thing after lunch. You can, of course, visit us on our booth downstairs. We can have chat, we can do demo, and thank you very much. Wishing you a very interesting conference.